there, boys and girls. I'm Nick in the States, and today we're going to talk about the Gibson Firebird Zero from the lovely folks at Gibson, of course. It's part of their S series of guitars, which is their kind of entry-level, relatively budget guitar line that came up this year. In that same line is the Gibson M2, which I've done a review for, and it was meh. The Gibson SG Fusion, the Les Paul Custom Special, and then the Les Paul Custom Studio. Don't let the customs fool you. They're really the budget line. They don't have a diamond on the headstock. They're just that. So anyway, what's the dilly? Well, I think across the S series, it's single volume, single tone, three-way switch. Most of them have the pickups that are in this one, which are the Gibson DS-C pickups. They're made in the USA pickup, from my understanding. The C stands for ceramic. So you're not going to get as much 50s butter, but you are going to get a lot of face-ripping shreddage, or as much as I can do. But it's definitely designed more towards your modern tones, that kind of more knifey, angry stuff, which some people really, really dig. I'm more of like an Alnico kind of guy. The cool thing with these pickups is they do have quick release connectors, so you can easily solderlessly swap pickups in and out. It's a little bit of a deviation. It's a deviant. It's a little bit odd as Firebirds go for having full-size humbuckers instead of mini hums. One of the key features of the S series of guitars, and one of the ways that Gibson is able to get it down in this range, is they've used imported no-name hardware. So no-name tuners, no-name wraparound bridge, I think they're Korean pots, a no-name three-way switch. Unlike the M2, this does, though, have those USA DS-C pickups. It's also a nitrocellulose lacquer gloss body. Body's made of poplar, maple neck, rosewood fretboard, 22 frets. And I'll tell you, with this blue, it's actually pretty well done. I don't see nearly the grain that you saw on the M2, where you could see patterns from the wood, kind of impressions that come through. This is actually a pretty good piece of wood, and actually a nice, comfortable playing, clean neck, simplified Firebird headstock, just adorned with a simple Gibson on the truss rod cover. All in all, not bad, right? Pretty cool. So there are a couple of shortcomings that we're going to get to later. This suffers from the same bridge malady, although not as bad, as the M2 did. It doesn't have the neck meets the body. Things want to get things low. The bridge is a bit tall, and it causes some issues. We'll talk more about that at the end with some thoughts, because it's definitely not perfect. First, let's try and get to a little bit of clean tones, and I'll explain the rig. It is a PV Bandit 112 Red Stripe, a delightful amp with an actual spring reverb. TC Electronic Polytune 2 Noir, MXR Custom 78 Badass Distortion, Electro Harmonics Soul Food, just to kind of goose up the cleans a little bit, and a Joyo California sound at the beginning of that fun kind of just... cool is that wraparound tailpiece and combination of woods and magic makes these things sustain for eons. And that's awesome. That's kind of cool. One last note, it is a Firebird, and I'd be remiss without pointing out that a Firebird tends to have neck drive. Lots of drive. Somewhere there's a Bob Dole ED joke here. This is not a very big, thick body. It's not very heavy. There's just a single bridge, not a tailpiece as well. So things dive. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast if you want to look sexy and different like this. So, but from a clean, I'm going to just to, give it a little bit of gumption there. If I go up in the neck, not the warmest thing, a little flat, but, it's got some... not bad, not horrendous, not superlative. Bridge, first keep your fingers crossed. That's good. Yeah, it's a bridge pickup. It's not so bad. Clean is not this guitar's strength. Pushed around a little bit, probably, but I want to point out something, and I made a comment there like, let's hope the bridge is there. Word, have you seen the bridge? Yeah, there's a problem with the three-way switch or the bridge pickup. Or both. Who knows? Yeah. Well, let's pray that we can coax it into staying with us for the rest of the demo, and we'll talk more about that in the shortcomings section, because I think it might come up. Anyway, let's go! Alright, a little bit more drivey stuff. Anyway, it does all that. Listen, this is a hard video. I'm currently ticked off with the guitar, not very inspired by it. And that really gets to the point of the issues and thoughts, right? So there's some good bones here. It's nicely nitroed, nicely finished, very pretty, cool aesthetic looking. And I even like the 24 3/4 inch scale. I can live with the neck dive. We all, as we get older, have to deal with some things like that. Not me, I'm just saying in general. The bridge issues, like the M2, you just can't get it quite as low as you want. But I think if I slam this all the way down, I can at least get it tolerable, acceptable, enjoyable to play. Not the end of the world, but if you really like low action, you're going to be doing some sort of hack, finding a different bridge, all that kind of stuff. Sadly, this one isn't leaning forward nearly as much as the one on the M2, so therefore you can't say if you just get better bridge posts, life will be better, because no, there's just not enough depth to go down, really, to get the action proper. The wiring and or pickup that's not working great is the most alarming thing on this. It's a bummer, right? Nobody wants to get a guitar out of the box, and I will tell you that you flip the flip switch down and immediately it doesn't work until you strum it a bunch of times and it comes to life. So if you were doing QC and you plugged it in as part of your setup process, you'd probably have caught that one. You know, I could switch the switch, but if it's not the switch, then it's the pickup. That's concerning. And it brings up a neat, I don't know if it's a psychological phenomenon, but it's something. Whereas, if this was, say, a $500 Epiphone, you walked into Guitar Center or Musician's Friend or whomever and bought it and brought it home, and the pickup was dead, you'd bring it back and say, what the hell's the matter with you guys? Like, you're selling me some junk crap here. You know, right? Like, it's pickup. I spent real money on this. This is a $500 Epiphone. You should have your crap together. This isn't like it's an Epiphone Special 2 or something where maybe you could accept that at $150. But as a Gibson, where the knee-jerk reaction is, well, it's only a $500 Gibson, like, you know, some issues are going to come up. They got to cut some corners. They got to rush to get it out the door at that price. But should we really think that? at the end of the day, it's still a $500 guitar. And if you're somebody, who, I'm blessed to have some disposable income that we've thrown out on the gear, and at this point I just end up buying and selling stuff to kind of keep product flowing. But if you've saved up for 5 or 6 months, if you've tolerated some crappy guitar that you're over, you want to replace it, you wanted this, look, this thing, it's a real USA Gibson for $500, my hard-earned money. And then you get this, you're going to be kind of pissed off about it. You're going to be kind of bummed. And I actually went back and forth on making any video for this and just returning it. But here's the deal. This is my third S line of guitars. I had 2 of the Gibson M2s, and now this one. And so now it's 3 Gibsons in this line that I've had that have had, pretty serious issues. Whether it's the bridge and the string height and stuff that got off the door, or this one with the bridge and the wiring that makes me want to make sure that you're careful. And that if you're going to buy these, be sure you buy it from somewhere that has a good return policy, whether that's Amazon, whether that's Musician's Friend or Guitar Center or wherever, and that isn't going to give you a hassle about the fact that the guitar has a degree of risk to it. And that's sad. The used to be Buy American sounded, was about great stuff. But in these particular ones, it's just comes off as being some corners have been cut and there's been acceptable risk of failure. And it's not to say that down the road these guitars might not be cherished, because a lot of Gibson's inexpensive lines over the years, whether it's Melody Makers or Juniors or Specials or ES-125s and 225s, or Marauders or Sonexes or any of those things, come to be loved and appreciated after their time and maybe not during their time. But they also tend to be fixed somewhere along the way too if they were broken. And this is another one of those guitars that might need to be fixed before it's great. End of my soapbox. Honestly, it's a $500 Gibson. You can sometimes find them on specials or be able to get certain percentages off with free shipping, that kind of stuff. Comes with a really nice gig bag, like padded, pizza-shaped thing. But it's a disappointment. It's a bummer to get stuff that doesn't work out of the box. That's it. That's the end of the game. So with that said, hopefully you got something out of this video. I'm just really uninspired with this, and honestly, as soon as I'm done wrapping, I'm probably going to have to send the damn thing back and just get a refund. So with that said, I've been Nick in the States. Yes, folks, I have issues. Y'all take care. Thanks.